Hello and welcome to Chapter 7, Developing Your Customers from the Entrepreneurship Textbook, 3rd edition. In this chapter, in this lecture, we're going to talk about what makes up customers and the markets that they do. One of the most important things for a business, or when you're starting a business, is that you have to understand who are your customers. Understanding your customers is very important because it really dictates who you're serving. You know their price. You know what their price range is in terms of the products you're selling. You understand their ways, and you can really market to them. The most successful companies know who their target market is. For example, McDonald's and Walmart focus on low income customers. That is who their customer base is. That is who they're truly focused on. Even though Walmart, some people may look at it as for anybody, not in particular. Walmart has a specific target market, as does McDonald's. In other industries as well, for example, Orange Theory Fitness knows who its target customer is. It's typically women who make over $60,000 and have discretionary funds. That is typically who their customer base is. So understanding who that is and understanding that can really help hone in on your business. And it also helps understand what your customer is willing to pay, right? There is a difference between a customer and a consumer, right? Customer pays for your product. Your customers are your loyalty customers who are going to come again and again and again to pay for your product or your service. Consumers just use your product, right? They just maybe one and done, but they're not truly who your customer is. For example, I'm not a customer of Whole Foods groceries, right? I'm not a customer of it. I don't consistently go to Whole Foods. That's just not particularly grocery stores that I go to. I'm a consumer of it. I may once in a while go to Whole Foods here and there, just buy one of the products and two, but that's not where I typically go to because that's not who I am for that. So being able to actually distinguish the difference is very important. When it comes to customers and market, right? Market where products are sold. So knowing where you're going to sell your product is very important, whether it's online or face-to-face environment, what their common needs and wants are. Sellers compete with supply, so understanding where your supply is and demand, being able to provide a demand that desire the goods and services that are available. Understanding your market opportunity. So again, how you are able to find a market opportunity, what is the demand out there, the product application, right? Goods and services created to meet a demand. So before you launch into a new business, you need to do the market research to determine how you're going. Is there a market opportunity out there, first of all, for the product you are serving, or for the product or service you are selling? Is your market saturated? Is it growing? Is it in a decline? So even in a decline market, you can maybe perhaps find an opportunity. You might just have to tweak things out. If you're in a very saturated market, what I mean by saturated market means there are plenty of players in the game. For example, in the restaurant industry, if you're going to start a burger chain, that is a very saturated market. There's a lot of burger chains out there. So how are you going to make yourself different? Is there a market opportunity in the area in the environment that you're going into? Understanding your customer is very important, what their wants or needs are. Every successful company understands the psychology of their consumer, their customer. Nike, Walmart, Whole Foods, Burger King, McDonald's, Amazon, they all understand the needs of the customer, right? And of course, they really know how to get them back in the door, right? The end users, right? The customers who are actually willing to, or who are use the product, influencers or recommenders is people who have a large following, and they may get just paid for saying what they're saying, right? Influencers has been a growing term as of the late 5 years now with social media, especially like TikTok and Instagram. an influencer may be paid to advertise for a certain product or service, and they recommend whether or not they should buy it. Economic buyers are the customers who have the ability to approve large-scale purchases. Decision makers are people who have the authority to purchase decisions, who have the authority to purchase said product. And usually, decision and economic buyers and decision makers are typically people in businesses who make decisions on purchasing a large product or some type of subscription for the office. A customer persona. Customer persona is a document that it's typically a one-page document that illustrates who your consumer is. It's a profile detail information of your customer, so representing your customer. So it usually consists of 6 things. It consists of the demographics, so who the target end user is. The psychographics, so describing the psychological attributes, what's their attitude, what's their values. The proxy, right? So proxy product that gives you an idea what the potential customer may like. The day in the life, so what's the day in the life of this particular consumer? If they're a white collar worker, they wake up in the morning, maybe they go work out, they eat breakfast, they commute into the office, and then at the end they go out to happy hour and they go home. Compared to perhaps a blue collar worker where they wake up, go to the gas station, pick up their energy drink or get their sandwich, and then go straight into work and then come back out. And of course the challenges and their pain points. So what is the problems that they're facing? So having to understand that what their customers are facing, what the problem is important when you're writing this customer persona. What platforms are they connecting with? So you have to understand what type of platforms are they connecting with. Are they using some form of different social media platforms? Are they going into maybe perhaps different? Are they watching TV on different stream apps? What is that? And of course, research could lead to consumer insights. For example, what type of the buyers who are interested in type of the product or service to really be interested in, kinds of resources your buyers trust when it comes to valuing their opinions. So really understanding that is important. A customer journey map is typically a representation how the different touch points between finding your product and actually buying your product. So a customer journey map really tells from the beginning to the end. So how they find your product or your service, and then how they go into purchasing your product. So whether you're selling your product through the app, through the internet, or in person, having to visually experience what it takes from a consumer to from search to end and to the buying the product. Just think about you, for example, when you buy a product, say on Nike or a Nike product or a video game, like think about the journey that it took you from finding that particular product until you actually bought it. That's how you had to think about the customer journey map. The benefits of having this, it represents a clear picture of your consumer. It really clarifies their experiences and what logical order, or if you can make it easier for your customer to buy your product. Of course, some elements that go into the customer journey map include discovery, right, need identified by the customer, finding the information, how, and of course how they make that purchase. Again, it's very useful. There's tools out there that determine, website analytics. So if you have a company website, you can see your analytics as to when the consumer goes into your web page and what different sites they're looking at within your website, different pages. Social media tools, a lot of social media tools like Instagram and Facebook and others, and YouTube. They provide really good metrics as determine, how much people are viewing your video or your post, or liking it, they're sharing. All those analytics really helps you to see, is your consumer going from a social media post and actually buying your product. again, customer segmentation. So look at the different types of the customer segment. Again, confirming your findings. Um, so look at the customer segmentation, right? Again, this kind of goes into what the behaviors are. Companies often group these type of customers on needs, behaviors, attributes. Uh, Again, what type of channels their needs, the validator offering, of course, what their distribution channel is, and of course the profitability, and are they willing to pay different aspects of the offer. Target customers, again, who are they, where are they, and how do they behave, and what are their needs. So who again, who are they, and where are they? That's kind of really important to determine. uh, Again, is it adult? And if it's adult, is it 25 to 45 year olds? Is it senior citizens, 60 and above? Is it kids? Is it athletes? Is it college athletes? You have to understand who your target customer is. Again, when it comes to target customers, you really have to understand. You have to paint a picture of who that target customer is. As I just mentioned, a target customer of Walmart is low income individuals who make less than $50,000 in annual revenue. Because when you look into Walmart, that's the products they're selling into. Same thing with McDonald's. Typically, their consumer is a low income individual. Now, of course, that doesn't mean everybody who goes to McDonald's is a low income individual, but they understand who their target customer is. So again, you have to paint a picture of who your typical target customer is, and of course, the adaptation life cycle. So adapting this is, you know, uh, innovators are basically the first customers to try a new product. So think about whenever you use a new product like Instagram or YouTube when it first came out. The innovator, the early adopters, is the second group who adopts the product but and intends to buy the new products. Early majority of those who are interested in a new product and have a mass market appeal. Then the late majority is those who typically are skeptical, pessimistic, but then eventually become customers. And then, of course, the laggards. The last group is to adopt a new innovation. Once it has gone through different iterations. So, thing about laggards is anybody right now who is willing to adapt into getting YouTube channel or Instagram. Those are the laggards, right? So anybody that that's finally created an Instagram account today or in the last few weeks, that's someone who's a laggard. They came late into the picture. The innovators or the early adopters is the people who first got the Instagram account when it first came out. Crossing the chasm when it comes to customer segmentation. So of course that's focusing on researching the primary market and finding a launch market by getting a larger market, and of course the four factors that define the launch market. It's the customers in that market buy similar products. Those customers have similar expectations of value, may be centrally located, and use of word of mouth. I think one of the most important parts about launching a product or launch market is that word of mouth is very important, and I think it helps out the product in the very beginning. But once you've established yourself as a company and once you continue to grow, word of mouth is only going to get you so far in terms of your company, and you're going to have to establish some form of marketing strategy to continue to grow. Market sizing, that is a method of estimating the number of potential customers and revenue and profitability. Again, this is all guesstimating your market size, right? It's how much can you penetrate the market. If the market is a $20 billion market or a $30 billion market, how much of that can you potentially get realistically? You can't say, I'm going to penetrate the market and get 5% of a $30 billion market. That's unrealistic. You're going to have to start out very small and see how much of that potential market that you're able to penetrate. Goes back to the TAM, SAM, SOM model, right? What's your total available market? What's the total size of the market? Serviceable available market, meaning what section can I intend to get, or that your product or service intends to target, and then your share of the market, the portion of your company is realistically to reach. So total available market is the overall macro aspect. The serviceable available market is you're kind of condensing it down. So if you want to look at the total available market is the entire United States, then the serviceable market is somewhere around a specific Midwest region, and then your share of your market would be like, okay, within the Midwest part of the country, within the Midwest part of the states, maybe the Chicagoland area or the Decatur area is my share of the market where I'm able to get that type of market space and realistically reach out to that market. And of course, calculate your market size, right? Define your segment of the market, right? And then of course determine how much you can get that. So again, look at that from, if you want to go back to this, right, the total available market in the United States, then reach it to the Midwest in terms of the sizable available market, and then you share your market, your SOM would be, the Decatur area, Chicagoland area, St. Louis area, and being able to really calculate that, okay, this is how much total sizable market that I could get into and penetrate, and be realistic about that. And this wraps up chapter 7 from the Entrepreneurship textbook, 3rd edition. Thank you.